Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, taking a look at the Tier 8 Tempest. Now this is going to be the next iteration in the British multi-role line that's supposed to be fully introduced after the close of the holiday events. Now, this is a multi-role fighter, and this map is actually, hopefully, going to be a very good example of what this aircraft is kind of built to do. The thing about multi-role fighters is that they're really not good in any particular role. No matter what, any aircraft you go... Really, man? Already? Any aircraft you go up against, you're either going to be outpaced, outturned, or out-altitude. Out-altituded? They'll be able to outlast you in altitude performance. So, unlike a heavy, which can always turn its nose up and just get out of dodge using its overwhelming speed and its healthy hit point pool to be able to kind of counter the enemy, I won't be able to do that. When it comes to altitude fighters, I'm not going to be able to out-altitude them, so I won't be able to operate up here and be able to turn on those heavies as easily. And when it comes to turning, I obviously don't have the same turn performance as a no-kidding turn and burn aircraft would. But what I do have is pretty good speed, pretty decent turn rate, pretty decent munitions, so across the board I'm kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. As a result, I like to operate flipping a zone, staying out of the major foray of the battle. See, now that the enemy's kind of looks like they're moving on from this area, I'm gonna go ahead and use my boost a little bit here, maybe pick up a little bit of health, and I'm gonna move behind the enemy lines and try and get in on their recently captured zone. And that's really where I think a multi-role kind of shines. You can pair them up and they can do pretty good, but where they're going to do really, really well is being a general nuisance, sneaking in behind enemy lines, dropping those munitions to be able to get a bit of a hurt on the enemy, and then taking out a bunch of air defense fighters in order to try and turn the tables and make things a little bit more even on your team's side. Alright, we've got a bomber coming in. I'm already distracting some of the AA, but I've de-aggroed that aircraft even though he's vectored this direction. Now it looks like we've got enough targets keeping these guys distracted. I can come in after some of these air defense aircraft. That was a pretty decent attack there. I damaged his wing, which means I have a chance to be able to get around on him. Not quite on that drop. Not quite. Damaged aircraft turning away. That's enough to flip the zone. And now I'm out, moving on, and it looks like the center zone has recently been captured, so I'm going to go try and flip that. There we go. I really like it when air defense aircraft leave the zone. Working our way to another zone where we think there's less aircraft. It looks like they're all spawning at their spawn because they want to get that garrison that's closest. I'm coming over to their airfield because it looks like my bomber's gonna come in here, which is gonna be helpful for me. Oh. Looks like the heavies are on me, and I'm sure the fighters will be as well. Good defense is a strong offense. That's one gun gone.
Be advised, a line of thunderstorms is approaching. We'll soon be unable to provide support. Do you copy? Over.
Let's get out of the zone for a minute.
We have control.
We just captured the zone. Just got grade 2. We got grade 2 for the exact reasons I was mentioning before. We are playing this aircraft exactly as the game intended. Grabbing another repair. I'd rather not be in an area where there's a lot of aircraft, but looks like... Oh, I think I was going to say I'd have some friends to distract these aircraft. That was not at squall line.
Now, you're on your own.
There we go. That was grade 2. I thought I had grade 2 earlier. There's only one zone left. Oh. Uh-oh. If we can flip this zone, the enemy will really be on the back foot. That didn't go where I needed it to.
You cannot leave the airfield in the enemy's hands.
It's a premium tier 8 I-260. Best I can hope for is to eventually get around on him, but I may have a hand from a friend here. I get these guns singing, he's gonna break off, he's distracted. Come on. It's actually my best hope here. Here we go, flipped it. Whew. Good game.
Great Great
I don't think
job
we lost our
today.
aircraft, did
We'll be
we?
waiting for you back home.
5 sectors captured, over 300 capture points. It's a solid fight. Let's go back to the hangar, talk a little bit about the airframe. I know I was a little bit quiet throughout that one, but I was concentrating just a little bit. We were going up against quite a few actual players, so they're a little bit harder to predict than you would the bots, but overall, a solid match, a decent performance, and a couple of tickets, I think, out of that one, right? No, I think I already got these today. But that's exactly what this aircraft's meant to do. You can see it here in the description. Capture points, sectors captured, and aircraft destroyed while defending. Now, we move zone to zone to zone. We kept rolling out, but if ground attackers come in, you can obviously outmaneuver them, you can outpace them, and you have solid enough guns that you can withstand the onslaught of their tail gunner and be able to cause enough damage to really rip them up. I like to come in from the side. If I think I can kill him before I think the tail gunner will get me, I'll kind of settle in behind him. Otherwise, I'll just go past, loop around, and come in for another side run in order to minimize the amount of time the tail gunner can hurt my aircraft, because the last thing I want to do is have a portion of my aircraft crippled, making the next attack on that enemy that much more difficult. But all tactics aside, let's go ahead and take a look at the upgrades and see how I've kind of fit this thing out. This is going to be the first instance going down this tech tree that you're going to see the rockets are going to be more viable. The Typhoon, the aircraft prior to this, the bombs actually had I think it was about the same damage output as the rockets, but I preferred the bombs. No, I take it back. The rockets had less of a damage output, so I went with the bombs. In this instance, the bombs and the rockets produce more damage. So if I go to the drop down here, the rockets produce 13,800 cumulative damage across all 8 rockets, while the 500-pound bombs are going to provide 9,890 damage. But that's cumulative, so all of the munitions put together. They both reload in 60 seconds, so it's a bit of dealer's choice. I'm trying to get used to rockets. That's why I'm equipping them on this aircraft, because you're going to see a similar instance with the Seahawk, where the 20 rockets do quite a bit of damage cumulatively between all of those munitions, so I'm trying to get myself attuned to that. But the bombs are a little bit more fire and forget. There were a few instances in that battle where being able to ditch the bombs, get back to the fight, and not have to get down to lower altitude in order to employ those rockets would have been a better choice, but it's really up to you which one you want to go with. The top guns on this are the exact same top guns as the Typhoon, so it's going to feel very similar. Wing-mounted Hispano Mark Vs. The engine performance, 6,600 horsepower, but it's all relative, right? This aircraft, I think, is just a little bit bigger than the Typhoon. It's probably heavier, so really, you saw how the engines performed. The thing likes to cruise over 300 miles an hour. It has a prop job at tier 8 that's pretty good, and it does have the ability to accelerate itself out of certain situations. Again, rock, paper, scissors match. Figure out what you're going up against and how you can overcome it. So since I know I'm not going to be able to turn with the people I can't turn with, I really want to make sure the instances where I do have to run, I can really run. Because if you aren't running fast enough, you're obviously going to be taking more damage on your way out of the engagement areas. So I've gone with polished airframe, or polished skin, and then I've also gone with the high-speed gas turbine in order to maximize the boost, because I feel like this is probably one of the better modules. Yeah, you're going to lose a little bit off of the total boost time, but if you're getting more out of your boost overall, then I don't see it as being that much of a loss. So I tend to lean towards this one over anything else. What I most likely will go for in the second slot here, if I do manage to specialize in this, is going to end up being a lightweight wing frame. It's going to hurt the HP a little bit, but it's not going to affect the overall performance of the aircraft except in the positive. And this will help me overcome some of the lack of maneuverability from going with the improved polished skin on this airframe. A lot of people might be tempted to try and fit this thing for maneuverability. I don't like to compensate for the weaknesses. I'd rather augment the strengths. So I steer clear of that. And since this thing is great at being able to get out of dodge, I'm going to make it even better at doing it. And of course, equipping that gyroscopic gun sight, because this isn't a bomber, this isn't a ground attacker. I need to hit people in order to kill them so they can't kill me. I don't rely on keeping everyone alive inside the aircraft because it's going to give me more hit points and I might be able to survive to get those bombs off. That's not the instance we're looking at for this airframe. That's not how it really operates. And of course, for the outboard weapons, we're going to try and increase the reload as much as we can and then increase the blast radius with the consumable non-premium, because you know how much I don't like using premium munitions. But there it is. It's an overall great airframe, and it's kind of exactly what you expect coming from the Typhoon. It's just a more advanced iteration of that same exact playstyle. So if you like the Typhoon, you will like the Tempest, and I think that you'll also like the Seahawk. Don't think you're going to be turning with people. Just use the speed, catch them by surprise. You let those guns reach out and touch people, and I will see you guys on the next one.